I received a picture text yesterday, just before noon. It was a cartoon by Gary Clement depicting the Canadian men's hockey team ready to take the ice. Their coach standing before them gives them all the advice they need. Play like girls. Now, as an American, and I'll admit it in this space amongst good friends, as an American, those words stung a little bit. Because I'm not sure if any of you were paying close attention to the CBC broadcast, but they did zoom in on the American women's faces and how upset they felt after that loss, after being resigned only to silver in the Olympics, right? But living in Canada means experiencing the Winter Olympics differently than I ever have before. It means sensuously feeling Olympic joy with every slap of the stick on the ice, every whish of skates speeding faster and faster, the cheers following an elegant ice dance, and the sudden silence as a skier lifts off into the air. In Canada, I've learned that even the sound of a broom brushing ice can send shivers down the spine. One of the joys of living in Canada is that the pull of winter sports never stops. There are many of us here who spend our time, when not in shul of course, worshiping in other sacred spaces, such as the ice rink or on the slopes. Our Torah portion this week is about the creation of a sacred space. One of the elements that makes this space sacred is the artists of the highest skill are involved in its construction. And Moses said to the Israelites, "See, the Eternal has singled out by name Bezalel, son of Uri, son of Hur, of the tribe of Judah, endowing him with the divine spirit of skill, ability, and knowledge in every kind of craft, and inspiring him to make designs of work in gold, silver, and bronze, to cut stones for setting and to carve wood, to work in every kind of designer's craft, and to give directions. He and Oholiab, son of Achisamach, of the tribe of Dan, have been endowed with the skill to do any work. Let them, Bezalel and Oholiab, and all the skilled persons whom the Eternal has endowed with skill and ability to perform expertly the tasks connected with the service of the sanctuary, carry out all the tasks that the Eternal has commanded." The arts are inherently tied to Jewish life. For Judaism to exist, we need talented scribes in every generation who can write in beautiful calligraphy, Sifrei Torah. We need artisans who can shape building materials into wonderful spaces fit to be called holy. As Purim draws near, you can see one example of beautiful Jewish art in the Rohr Library, a Purim tapestry to protect our illuminated Megillat Esther, constructed by our artist-in-residence, Tema Gentles. The link between art and Judaism is more than just a coincidence. According to Rabbi Bradley Solomson, the current director of youth engagement for the Union for Reform Judaism, as a painter has to make a series of choices in composing a work, so as Jews we have to make choices of how to compose Shabbat. As an artist's identity is reflected in compositional choices, so a Jew's identity is reflected in the way he or she chooses to observe Shabbat or holidays. Our lives, according to Rabbi Solomson, are the canvases we paint our Jewish experiences upon. And part of our lives, ripe for Jewish interpretation and Jewish values, is sport. One of the touchstone points of arts education is also relevant to sports, the idea of encoding. The Jewish art educator Robert Gringus explains encoding in this way. When an Orthodox Jew enters a house, she does not make a speech about her connection to the history of the Jewish people. She does not quote from Deuteronomy, nor does she attempt to explain her emotional connection to her Jewish roots. She most certainly does not express her fear of demons, her belief in the divine, or talk about the feelings of security she has upon entering a house that may not be her own. She probably would not tell us all about the 10th plague in Egypt. She will simply reach out her hand, touch it gently to the decorative mezuzah on the doorpost, and then kiss her hand. This evocative combination of movement and the visual arts that says so much with such concise movement and beauty is an excellent example of skillful encoding. When a player skates quickly by, smacking his arm against extended hands, this encodes a different message than the player who looks each opposing skater in the eyes and makes a real effort to shake hands following a win or a loss. Losing and winning are both skills and need to be practiced in how to do them well. Consciously bringing Jewish ethics into sports and into life is a skill. As the important Orthodox thinker Rabbi Aharon Lichtenstein said, and with my own editing for winter sports, the world of sports is, in a certain sense, trivial. Mature adults are skating around trying to put a puck in a net with sticks. Nevertheless, moral qualities can and do come into play. Cooperation, team play, an attempt to get the maximum out of yourself, the inherent effort of the person himself, or the loneliness of the long-distance cross-country skier in his isolation. These are all very significant moral elements. While one may not accept the British belief that Waterloo was won on the playing fields of Eden, there is no question that within the essential trivial world of sports, real moral greatness and real moral degradation can be seen. If you see someone on the ice who wants only to shoot and score, and defense means nothing to him, this is not simply disturbing to another hockey player. This is morally repugnant. Consciously living Jewish ethics while playing sports and living life is a skill. Even for a fan, it is sometimes difficult. Does loyalty to the people of Israel extend past the national flag one skates under? When we hear O Canada and Hatikva, which national anthem sings more deeply in our hearts? And are we even aware of the other Jews on the ice? Who do we cheer louder for? The American Jason Brown, a Reformed Jew and camper at URJ Camp Osrui, who took 9th in the world in men's figure skating, or Canada's silver medalist, Patrick Chan. This dance of being an athlete and a Jew, a sports fan and a Jew, does not need to be a balancing act of conflicting priorities. It should be about integrating Jewishness into every fiber of our being and every moment of our lives, encoding Jewish values into every brushstroke, every musical note, every business decision, and every pass. Some have said, if you want to help someone develop a good Jewish background, give them a good Jewish playground. I would say, if you want to help someone develop a good Jewish background, make sure their Judaism is an active part of their life on that playground. Consciously shaping your Judaism inside and outside of sacred space is a skill. We learn sacred living here in this holy structure. We learn it at our summer camps, including the specialty sports camp URJ 6 Points and at URJ Camp George. We learn it in our senior school here, and hopefully on the playground at day schools and in our youth groups. We learn it from our parents and from our coaches, mentors, and mostly from our peers. And when we use the artistic or physical skills that we were endowed with and practice to perfect, we can't forget the effort, the practice it takes to integrate these skills into a fully Jewish life. In a comment on Genesis 46, when Jacob and Joseph reunite, Rabbi Yehuda Lieb Alter of Ger, the Sfat Emet, asks why Joseph was emotional, but Jacob was withdrawn, quietly reciting the Shema. Most confusing is Joseph's use of this sacred moment in the day, the time that the Shema is recited, to stage the reunion. He asks, why wasn't Joseph too reciting the Shema instead of greeting Jacob? I believe that Joseph, who was in the house of Egyptian master, represents the kind of person who achieves closeness with the eternal, even when occupied with mundane matters, and does not feel the least bit separated from God. May we, when we enter other sacred settings, the ice arena, the slopes, the art studio, the choir room, the business room. Bring Judaism with us, encode it into our every action. May we, as much as we play like Canadians, also play like Jews, struggling, learning, and growing for our interactions with one another and with our world. Whether we are busy shaping bronze, silver, and gold, singing notes of pure gold, trying to earn gold, or playing the sports which reward these medals, may we be living up to the highest ideals of mankind, and may our actions both inside and outside of temple bring us closer to each other and to the divine. Shabbat Shalom.